in a world where dreams still whisper and magic never fades. Welcome to Magic Fairy Tales TV, the enchanted realm where timeless stories come alive once more. From classic adventures to new bedtime wonders, each tale is crafted to awaken the child within and rekindle your happily ever after. So open your heart, close your eyes, and step inside the magic kingdom of fairy tales. Subscribe now for magical tales every week and rediscover the wonder you've always believed in. In a quiet town, where chimneys breathed silver smoke and pumpkins glowed like sleepy lanterns, there stood a house no one dared to visit. Its windows flickered at night, and sometimes, if you listened closely, you could hear a whisper, soft as the turning of a page. They said it was haunted. They said the shadows danced by themselves. But truth, as it often does, had a little more kindness than the stories told. For inside those creaking doors lived something, or someone, not frightening at all, just lonely. And tonight, as the moon curls like a silver cat above the roofs, you and I will meet the friendliest ghost of all, in the friendly haunted house. A gentle Halloween tale about courage, friendship. Tonight, we open a storybook door to a house where shadows giggle, windows wink, and every creak hides a kind surprise. So pull your blanket close, let your imagination glow, and join us as we visit the friendly haunted house. In the cheerful town of Willowbrook, Halloween night sparkled like a candy-wrapped dream. Lanterns shaped like smiling pumpkins lined the sidewalks, and the scent of caramel apples floated through the chilly air. 9-year-old Ella and her younger brother Max skipped from porch to porch, their treat bags jingling with chocolates and candy corn. But as they neared the end of Sycamore Lane, Ella slowed her steps. At the very edge of the street stood a house wrapped in legends. A tall, slate-grey Victorian with crooked shutters and a roof that seemed to whisper. Children called it Hawthorne House, but most simply said the haunted house. Max tugged at Ella's sleeve. "Do you think ghosts live there?" Ella bit her lip, eyes on the darkened windows. "Maybe, but I heard they're the friendly kind." As they debated, a gust of wind swirled around their feet. A folded note skittered across the pavement and landed against Ella's shoe. She picked it up. The paper smelled faintly of vanilla and marshmallows. Inside, shimmering letters spelled, "Brave guests welcome. Ring the bell before the moon is high. Treats await those who enter with kind hearts." Max's eyes grew as round as his candy bucket. "Ella, it's an invitation." Ella's heartbeat quickened. Could the house really be waiting for them? Before she could decide, the note warmed in her hand, as if urging her forward. Hand in hand, the siblings climbed the creaky front steps. The porch boards groaned, but not in warning. Each creak sounded more like a happy sigh, like an old swing welcoming familiar friends. Max hesitated at the giant brass door knocker shaped like a friendly bat. Maybe we should. Before he finished, the door slowly swung open with a cheerful whoosh. Inside glowed a soft amber light, and the air smelled of cinnamon cocoa and toasted marshmallow. "Hello?" Ella called. To their surprise, the door responded with a gentle creak that sounded like, "Hello." Max giggled. "The door just said hi." They stepped inside. The floorboards shimmered like polished caramel. Cobwebs hung from the chandelier, but instead of spiders, tiny fireflies twinkled like fairy lights. A staircase spiraled upward, its banister lined with pumpkins that each wore a different silly grin. One pumpkin wiggled and spoke in a playful drawl. "Welcome, brave trick-or-treaters. Follow the giggles for goodies galore." Max clapped his hands. "This is the best haunted house ever!" A soft rustle echoed from the hallway. Out floated a cluster of mini ghosts. But these were no ordinary spirits. They wore colourful scarves and tiny party hats. The leader, a small ghost with lavender eyes, bobbed forward. "Hello, I'm Wisp," it said in a voice as gentle as falling leaves. "We've been waiting to share our Halloween feast. But first, you must play the game of friendly frights." Ella grinned. "What's the game?" Wisp twirled mid-air. "You must find 3 hidden laughing lanterns. Each one tells a joke. Collect all 3 jokes, and the grand treat is yours." Max jumped with excitement. "Let's do it." And so Ella and Max began their not-too-scary treasure hunt through a house where every corner hides a giggle, every shadow hides a friend, and every riddle brings them closer to a magical Halloween surprise. The adventure is only beginning. Ella and Max stepped into a hallway lit by floating candles that bobbed like happy fireflies. Their gentle glow revealed playful shapes on the walls, shadows of bunnies, squirrels, and dancing stars. Each shadow giggled when the children passed, as if sharing a secret. Max whispered, "Do you think they know where the laughing lanterns are?" Before Ella could answer, a mischievous squirrel-shaped shadow leapt from the wall and pointed toward a narrow archway. A faint sound of snickering echoed inside. Ella took Max's hand. "I think that's our first clue." As they entered, the candles drifted along behind them like loyal puppies, casting cozy light on each step. The archway opened into a pumpkin parlor, where dozens of pumpkins rested on plush chairs and velvet tables. Some were striped, others glittered, and a few wore tiny bow ties. In the center sat a pumpkin with a mouth carved in a wide grin. It wiggled excitedly and burst into a high-pitched chuckle. "Welcome, welcome," it said. "I'm Lantern 1, keeper of the first Halloween giggle. But to earn my joke, you must tell me something funny first." Max thought hard. "Why don't skeletons fight each other?" The lantern tilted its stem. "Why? Because they don't have the guts," Max blurted, dissolving into laughter. The lantern roared with delight, sparks of golden dust swirling around it. "Marvelous. Here is your prize." Why was the mummy so tense? Because he was all wrapped up in himself. A small crystal charm popped from the pumpkin's lid and floated into Ella's palm. It glowed with a gentle orange light. "One lantern found. 2 to go." The pumpkin cheered. Leaving the pumpkin parlor, Ella and Max followed a staircase that spiraled upward like a cinnamon twist. The polished wood banisters quivered when touched, releasing soft bursts of feathers that tickled their fingertips. Max squealed with laughter. "This house is hilarious." Halfway up, a carved wooden cat sprang to life. Its emerald eyes winked as it whispered, "The second lantern awaits in the music room. But beware the piano, it loves to tell tall tales." The cat leapt gracefully onto a railing and vanished in a puff of sparkling dust. The siblings entered the music room to find instruments floating in mid-air, a violin strumming itself, drums tapping out a jazzy beat, and a grand piano humming a lullaby. Perched atop the piano was a lantern with a star-shaped smile. Its laughter chimed like tiny bells. "To earn my riddle," it announced, "you must make me dance." Ella scanned the room and noticed the violin hovering near a stool. "I think it wants us to play music," she said. Max tapped a drum while Ella plucked the violin strings. The instruments joined in, creating a bouncy tune that filled the room with cheerful echoes. The lantern swayed back and forth until it spun in a joyful twirl. "Well done," it cried. "Here's your joke. Why did the ghost bring a ladder to the party? Because it wanted to raise the spirits." A silver charm floated down, landing softly in Max's candy bucket. Its twinkle matched the laughter in their eyes. With 2 charms secured, the siblings followed a hallway lined with portraits of smiling families, talking animals, and curious creatures. Each painting bowed politely as they passed. One portrait, a young witch stirring a cauldron of hot chocolate, winked and whispered, "The third lantern rests in the library of whispering books. But be gentle, the books love to gossip." The air smelled faintly of cocoa as the door to the library creaked open, inviting them into a room overflowing with stories. Bookshelves stretched to the ceiling, stacked with volumes bound in velvet and shimmering foil. Pages fluttered softly, like butterflies stretching their wings. "Welcome, readers." Several books chimed in unison. "Care for a riddle? A poem? A secret?" At the far end of the room sat a lantern carved like a tiny wizard's hat. It rocked gently on a lectern, chuckling to itself. "Ah, seekers of laughter," the lantern said. "To claim my joke, you must share your favorite story." Ella smiled. "My favorite is the little pumpkin who found his glow," she said. "It's about being brave even when you feel small." Max nodded. "I like the dragon who loved cupcakes. Because dragons and cupcakes are awesome." The lantern clapped its carved hands. "Excellent choices. Here is my final giggle. Why don't vampires have many friends? Because they are a pain in the neck." A golden charm drifted down to join the others. The 3 charms merged in mid-air, forming a shimmering candy-shaped key. As the key settled into Ella's hand, the books whispered excitedly, "Take the key to the banquet hall. Treats beyond imagination await." Max's eyes sparkled. "I can almost taste the marshmallows." Together, they hurried toward the sound of cheerful music and the scent of warm chocolate fudge, ready to unlock the final door of their friendly haunted adventure. With 3 laughing lanterns found and hearts full of joy, Ella and Max approached the grandest surprise of all. But what delicious magic waits behind the banquet hall door? The house itself might have one last giggle to share. Here's batch 3. Ella held the shimmering candy-shaped key in her palm. It pulsed with a warm golden glow, almost humming with excitement. Max bounced on his toes. Let's find the banquet hall before the moon gets too high. Following the scent of chocolate fudge and roasted marshmallows, they arrived at a pair of towering double doors carved with dancing pumpkins. As Ella lifted the key toward the lock, the doors giggled. A soft, bubbling sound. "Tickle us first," they chimed. Max grinned and wiggled his fingers across the carved pumpkins. The doors shook with delighted laughter and swung open, revealing a room of shimmering delight. Inside stretched a banquet table that seemed to go on forever. Plates of caramel apples sparkled beside bowls of candy corn that glowed like tiny lanterns. Cupcakes wore frosting hats shaped like ghosts, and mugs of creamy cocoa steamed with ribbons of cinnamon. At the center of it all floated the friendly ghosts, wearing party hats made of golden leaves. "Welcome, champions of laughter," cried Wisp, the lavender-eyed leader. "You have found the 3 laughing lanterns and earned a seat at our Halloween feast." The banquet table seemed endless. There were caramel clouds that melted into warm toffee rain, popcorn balls that popped themselves in rhythmic little dances, and rainbow candy canes that sang a soft humming tune. Max reached for a cupcake frosted with shimmering purple icing. The frosting twinkled and whispered, "Taste me, and you'll dream of starlight." Ella carefully lifted a mug of cocoa swirling with floating marshmallow moons. The moons winked as if to say, "Take a sip, and your heart will glow." Nearby, a tray of cookies shaped like smiling bats flapped tiny sugar wings and squeaked, "Pick me, I'm the crunchiest." The instruments from the music room floated in, playing a merry tune. The shadow creatures from the hallway twirled like autumn leaves, and the portraits from the gallery leaned forward to watch the celebration. Max's eyes widened at the endless treats. "Can we really eat all this?" Wisp nodded. "Every bite is as magical as it looks, and it never gives tummy aches." The banquet table sparkled, but before the first sip of cocoa could be taken, the 3 laughing lanterns floated into the hall like VIP guests. Lantern 1 wiggled happily. "I've been waiting all night for this." "Hey kids, want to hear another pumpkin joke?" Ella giggled. "Of course." Lantern 1 beamed. "What do you call a pumpkin who tells scary stories?" Max shrugged. "What? A spine-tingling squash." All 3 lanterns burst into shimmering laughter, their sparks leaping like tiny fireworks. Lantern 2 twirled in the air. "My turn. Why did the piano invite the violin to the Halloween dance?" Ella thought hard. "Why? Because it wanted to find the key to fun." Lantern 3 bobbed with excitement. "And here's a real zinger. Why don't skeletons ever get lost on Halloween night? Because they follow their funny bone." The ghosts clapped their misty hands in delight. The ghosts handed out mugs of glowing cocoa that smelled of vanilla and starlight. Ella raised hers and said, "To the friendly haunted house. To laughter and new friends." Max added. The room echoed with joyful cheers. Pumpkins clapped their stems, the banisters twanged like guitars, and the grand piano played a triumphant finale. Ella took a sip of cocoa and felt a gentle warmth spread through her chest, as if the house itself was hugging her from the inside. Before dessert, Ella wandered back to the gallery of kind portraits. The young witch from the paintings stirred her cocoa and leaned closer. "Did you know," the witch whispered, "that laughter keeps cobwebs shiny and bright? It's the secret to a happy haunted house." Another portrait, a grand wizard with a glittering hat, winked. "And jokes," he added, "are like magic spells. They turn ordinary nights into unforgettable adventures." Ella smiled. "Then tonight must be the most magical night of all." The portraits bowed in agreement, their frames glowing with pride. When the feast wound down, Wisp floated to the children with a tiny chest shimmering like moonlight. "This is for you," the ghost said softly. "Inside is a piece of tonight's magic, a charm that will help you find laughter whenever life feels a little too spooky." Ella opened the chest to reveal 2 glowing marbles, each swirling with golden sparkles. "Whenever you shake these," Wisp explained, "they'll tell a new joke just for you." Max grinned. "Even on boring Mondays?" "Especially on Mondays." Wisp winked. Wisp clapped misty hands. "Before you go, a dance contest." The instruments struck up a bouncy tune, the ghosts floated into spins and cartwheels. Ella twirled with her arms wide, and Max hopped side to side in a silly pumpkin jig. Lantern 2 shouted, 10 out of 10 twinkles for Max's fancy footwork. Lantern 3 added, and a perfect glow score for Ella's pumpkin pirouette. The hall erupted in laughter and applause until the chandeliers flickered like falling stars. A gentle chime rang through the hall as the moon reached its peak outside. The ghosts began to twirl in a slow, graceful dance. Lanterns dipped and bobbed like partners in a waltz. Wisp floated closer. The night is nearly over. The door will guide you home. But remember, our laughter will follow you wherever you go. Ella felt a tiny tug of sadness, but she smiled. We'll visit again next Halloween, right? Wisp spun in a happy circle. Of course. The friendly haunted house is always here for brave hearts. And so, the haunted house was haunted no more. Not by sadness, nor by fright, but by laughter echoing through the halls and the soft patter of friendship's footsteps. For every creak and sigh we fear in the dark may simply be a story waiting to be understood. And so the house that once whispered shadows now hums with laughter and light, because courage and kindness can haunt the heart in the best way. If you love cozy magic and gentle spooky adventures, subscribe for more cinematic bedtime fairy tales every week. Tap the bell so you never miss a new story that sparkles after dark. Comment below, what would you name your own friendly haunted house? This has been Magic Fairy Tales TV. May your dreams be bright and your ghosts friendly. Watch the full playlist: Halloween bedtime stories, gentle spooks, and autumn magic.